Good morning. It's Dr. Bill Williams on the Influencers Podcast. It's good to have you back on a Monday morning. We're in the thick of winter. It's cold outside, but it's warm in here because we've got a great speaker today, guest speaker on the Influencer Podcast. It's none other than Ramy Ayoub, and he's going to be talking a lot about sustainability. He's a global citizen. He's going to be talking about the expat experience and what can we learn from him that will impact our lives. So welcome to Influencer Podcast, Ramy. Glad to have you here.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, and thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah, I want to ask you, first of all, just to kind of give us a sense of what kind of thing you're doing these days, and where are you from? Where do you live? Where have you been? I know that you've spent a lot of time working with Hilton and Apple and some other industries in the food industry a lot, I understand. So give us a rundown of your life.
Okay, my name is Ramy. I born and raised in Alexandria in Egypt, and being raising in Alexandria, that was something really special. It's the first cosmopolitan city on earth, and it's still all those old elements from all over the world still exist in every street in Alexandria. So we have the Latin district, the Jewish neighborhood, the African neighborhood, all the old museums, and the diversity of churches from all over the world, like Armenian church, Polish church, I don't know, Greek churches. So by walking in Alexandria streets, you see a open museum, international open museum, and it gets you the feeling that you want to learn more about what the story of this place. And from here I start get the feeling, as you mentioned, thankfully, the global citizen. I'm my nationality is Egyptian, but I'm a global citizen. I'm from Alexandria, and I touched all that. Starting very normal kid, interested in technology and computer. So I was helping friends to fix computers, and in the school and the church, I was the one who get to the lab to fix any issues. If someone want to buy a new computer, at this time we had no opportunity to buy a computer in Egypt, but you can get it as a spare parts, and you need someone to collect it to you. Because if you will buy it as a full PC, it costs you a lot with tax, etc. So 95% of the people, they got the spare parts and they look for someone to collect it and install the Windows. So I started like that. In the age of 9, I figured out computer is my thing, and I thought that's everything for me. Few years later, in the age of 13, I had kind of turning point in my life. I was introduced to the music industry, and by working in computer, I was able to burn CDs. At this time, it was big revolution, turning from the tabs to the CDs. So I was able to get music, burn CDs, and sell it to DJs. And from here, I got the first opportunity. You sell nice music, why you don't work as a DJ? And the point here for this opportunity, that they was looking for someone speaking English, and it was rarely to find a DJ in Egypt, in Alexandria at this time, who speaking English, to work in a 5-star resort. So from the age of 13 to 16, I was between computer and music. I had a very small cyber cafe on my father's garage, that built it at this time as the beginning of big project that I want to build. But out of sudden, once I got the opportunity to be a DJ, I moved to this opportunity. I turned off the cyber cafe, and I introduced to the hospitality through the music industry. And this was a turning point that moved me from Alexandria and from the computer thing to a wider life range that get me to hospitality, to events, to entertainment, to tourism industry in general. And from here, like, start completely different life.
That sounds like a really nice journey, steadily moving upward. You started out in a garage. You moved to the DJs and probably played some nice halls, and then you moved into the five-star restaurants. That's called upward mobility.
Yeah, and like by the time I even like get like to marketing, branding, recently sustainability and education. So like I saw that I had a plan for my life since I was so young. My all my vision and dreams was about computer. I want to be a successful computer engineer. I want to build a big computer company, and I was pursuing in this plan and I'm working in this plan. But out of sudden, I find my passion in the music and art, and like also like I figured out later that was part of my personality and character. Like I don't like reading and writing, but I like to make music and do graphics and like video editing. Like I'm more visual than texting and writing and reading. So that like came out in the art that I used to do and the music that I used to produce, and being on the stage in a very young age give me also like more of self assurance that helped me to continue. And whatever I find that there is a like a light coming from that direction that take me from as being an entertainer to open the first entertainment academy in Egypt and the Middle East in 2007. I was like 19 years old at this time. But I find there is a gap on the entertainment industry in Egypt, and there is an opportunity if I open an academy that will allow more people to join this industry, and I will fill a gap that there's a lot of opportunities in the resorts that looking for entertainers that they cannot find. So they get people from Europe and from like international companies that cost them more. While we have people in Egypt that don't have a job. So why we don't connect the dots at this point? So I find the opportunity and I moved to it. And at this time, I was like required to be away from the DJing and from the art that I love and from the stage. But like I was between the two things until I decided like I cannot be both things together. I need to leave the music as an entertainer because I have like a something more important to do. It's kind of duty or responsibility that no one else done it, but like anyone can DJ. But like the academy, like it's first time I someone open it and I have to focus on. And like by continuing growing this academy and like having partnership and providing businesses to more hotels that like give me the proof like I was in the right direction. Music, I still can do it for fun from time to time. After that, we got
Before you go, Ramy, before you go into that, I wanted to ask if you know someone in your DJ music industry because it intersects at about the same time zone. The number one DJ in France is a good friend of mine, Theory Ocho. Did you ever run across him and hear that name?
I will check it out.
So
Sure.
Theory is one of my good buddies in on Passive, and he um, traveled the same road you did, about the same age as you are, and went through the same music evolution of the beginning of the DJ.
Of course, I would love to learn about that.
Yeah. So anyway, let's get back to your story. And the last person I interviewed just last week was from Tunisia, Amina El Abed, and she is into the music industry, trying to work out monetization for musicians. So that's another interesting sideline. People are always interested in music. It's something that a lot of people don't talk about, but that really is part of their heart to be musicians, to support music. Now you've gone from music into the five-star hotel. Keep going with your story. Where'd you go next?
Uh, like I had like big crisis in 2011 with the revolutions and the Arab Springs that happened in the Middle East, and this kind of stopped everything for a while. And like at this time, I was 21, didn't had enough experience for crisis management or force majeure or whatever. But at the same time, I had like big operation with over 400 employees. At least 50% of them are foreigners. So you need to send them back to their countries because there's no operation in Egypt. Most of the hotels closed, and even they wasn't able to pay you like the last month's fee. So this was a big crisis, but I wasn't able to handle it. And we continues in this crisis from 2011 until 2013, 2015, and keep continuing. And like I find that the operation of the Red Sea Academy and the nightclubs that we manage and the hotels that we provide for entertainment is no longer the good environment to continue, and it's no longer the best thing to keep doing. And at this time, I remember like I have been working for almost 14 years without taking a vacation.
Oh,
So I decide, okay, let's hold, take a vacation, start like reset, and see what to do next. And like I start move to travel. I started uh, with Africa. I stopped in Kenya for so long. I stayed for a big period there, and here I start to like kind of knowing myself on a new generation or a new era of myself. Uh, in the state of being busy all time, no, I'm completely free. I have nothing to do, and let's think what I want to do next. Uh, I start like figure out mainly what was my weakness that didn't allow me to continue the academy even with the crisis. So I need more knowledge in business management. I need more knowledge in crisis management, etc. Uh, Also, I figured out like I was very passionate about marketing, branding, digital marketing. I was like very unique and like company performance in this section. So I said, let's see how I can like improve my skills in this area and how I can use it to start gain money from doing marketing for other companies. And at this time, uh, when I was in Kenya, I start meet some people like investors from Europe who invest in Kenya on some like franchise or importing certain brands. And I find here like the first opportunity to work in marketing in one of those companies. And while I was free, like having free mindset and like was observing different lifestyle in Kenya, I was living in Mombasa at this time. I started to realize that I had a lot of loss in some of the business that I managed or I owned. For example, in food and beverage, because many reasons, but like it ended up by very high food and beverage cost and low profit margin. So while you are in the operation and like it's heavy duty operation and always there is a revenue coming, you will may not focus in why was a very high food and beverage cost and low profit margin. But while I was away and off, I keep thinking about these things. What I could have do better to have a sustainable business that can continue even with the crisis, what I could save during the good time that can help me to continue. From here, I start like also like whenever I go out from any hotel like in Kenya, for example, and like I see the food wastage inside, but I go outside, I see people hungry and like trying to find like any food to eat in the trash can. while inside the hotel there's like 40% of the food is wasted. I started like look for life and things in a different way, and like this keep growing inside me like through the years until I can say moving to New York during the pandemic. I was planning to come to pursue a master degree in the consumer behavior. I find like a great opportunity to start to practice during the pandemic, the lockdown, and helping the small and medium businesses who are trying to survive and continue, or who are closed in the lockdown and want to open again. And like I find like I'm kind of doing this voluntarily without asking for any return, but like I just find the place is about to open again. I just come in, hi, I see you, congratulations. If you need any help, I'm just like I have a good experience in this industry, and like I can help you with any advice if you need. I'm not gonna ask you for any money or anything. I'm just doing a master degree in this, and like by sharing those insights with you, I will help my study. So that's all I'm looking for, some insights for my study. Start to get into the operation of small restaurants, pizzerias, small bars, and like kind of have a flashback for all what used to happen in my kitchens that I haven't seen, but I can see the numbers and see how that impact me. And I feel so sorry for that business owner, and I start like address. That's why you have high food cost, and like to improve your food profit margin, you need to focus in this area, and like how you know that the cost of each item, for example, to be able to measure the profit margin. So then we get like to something called menu engineering, that how can like get the cost of each item by all the ingredients and components that in this plate, let's say, that cost you X, and how much you need to sell it to be profitable or to be break even or whatever. Small businesses, they don't think this way. They don't have cost control management or department, and they don't know that there is something called avoiding food wastage by having this like menu engineer, for example, that will allow you to know what you're gonna purchase that require for the operation. You will not purchase more and it keep like overstocked, or you will not purchase less and you will get out of stock. So like by opening their eye to this concept or practice, I feel like it has like change in their operation. And I haven't like innovate or discovered anything. It's just like in all the big organizations, they do this in a way or other, but there is no one connect between those big organizations and the small businesses.
That's a good point where we can jump into the question that really is at the heart of what you're talking about is you don't know your cost of goods and services, but you base your prices on the going rate in the market, but you don't maybe connect the two. You may have higher costs than you have sales going out. How did you help the people? What were the reasons they were failing, these restaurants and bars? What was the thing they were doing?
Like if we would talk about three reasons, I can start it by ignorance, and the opposite thing of the ignorance would be the awareness. So if there is a good awareness in term of like knowledge and education, or in term of like the excitement that will require you, that you need to know what's going on in your operation. It's good, but yeah, it can be better. How I can make it better? How can I improve it? So I will stop being satisfied by it's good and it's fine. No, I will focus on how to improve it. So by focusing on awareness and improvement and best practices, this number one, we have to focus on, in my opinion. Second thing, why people fail? Maybe they don't know that they fail. They're just waiting for someone to come tell them, by the way, this is wrong for 1, 2, 3. And we have to accept the idea that people do mistakes. That's normal. Like, we are all human. Even machines do mistakes. Like if you look, for example, about the potato as a vegetable, it was refused for hundreds of years, and people refuse it. It's coming from the roots, and they see like it's look ugly, and like people refuse it. It took hundreds of years until like people start to eat it. And in Egypt, when the first time they got the coffee, I don't know how many 100 years ago, the coffee was refused, and like the religion people at this time consider it as a drug because it's against the human nature. It keep you awake. But by time they try it and they like it and they drink it and become traditional drink in all over the Middle East, every house have a Turkish coffee especially. So sometimes people don't know that they fail or they do something wrong or not the right thing. That's why like should be like a kind of responsibility and duties from the people who have the knowledge to share it with others, so they start to know that they failed. Maybe also I can speak about like resilience and discipline and content. This also, if people like miss that, they will fail.
Yeah, what you're saying rings true to me. In my business of dentistry, we saw that mindset and awareness was key. We saw that you had to know your numbers, you had to know your statistics. Management by statistics was always part of our success. We knew what was happening because we looked at the numbers and tracked them. And if you don't track things, you don't know what's happening. And you said one thing that was very important: use your common sense. Just think through the process and bring some experts in if you don't know everything, right?
Yeah, because like, even you don't need to bring an expert today, like in YouTube or like Google, anything, you'll find like a lot of resources that will allow you to do everything you want to do. And you know, like if we look like in the human history in general, I don't know how many millions or thousands years we're talking about. And at the beginning was more uncertainty and was very natural at the same time, but was not documented. So was like a huge amount of time, but was not documented. And then we start to have the writing, and this was a turning point in the human history. And by the writing, this was allow them to document and to share the knowledge, and this shared knowledge continues. And like you will see that like big gap without the writing, and after like by moving like after writing and the agriculture industry and like automation and computer and the cloud and internet, etc., that gap become smaller. Like if we talk about like between the agriculture and automation, maybe it took 1,000 years, but between the automation and AI, it took 100. Between the AI and the next thing of the AI or whatever, it will take a couple of years. So we have to follow that.
It's interesting. You mentioned you're from Alexandria, Egypt, and the world's depository of information was kept in Alexandria for so many hundreds of years after the fall of the Roman Empire. And
Yes.
through the Dark Ages, Alexandria was the one place in the world that everything of education survived.
True.
And so right now, we have a new Alexandria, which is in our Cell phone. Everything that's known is in that cell phone.
Yeah, you see.
Everybody can have it. It's Chat GPT. It's Google. It's Bing, and it's at your fingertips.
And like I completely agree with you. And like at the same time, look for how we use the things before and how we use it today. Like for example, 15 years ago, if you want to have like a drone shot in a TV show, how many people you need to hire, and like helicopter and like crew and cameras, blah 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 blah. All those resources today being replaced by the drone cam that cost less than of 1 day fee for one of those people work, and you will use it for I don't know how many years. So this change, like before, people like the agriculture industry, they used to manipulate the animals to help them in their work, but today they use the drone to help them in their work. And we have to follow this like improvement and rapid change in our life as well. It's if we will not be on the same speed, we will get behind, and we are already behind.
Now you're talking about some things that you want to achieve and accomplish in the future. Some goals you have. Bringing sustainability to the world, avoiding wasting of food. What are you going to attempt to do over the next years related to those things?
You know, when you get to the point like sustainability, there's a big misconception that most of the people focus on, which is recycling. So whenever you talk about sustainability, you'll find like, yeah, we do recycling, but it's not that doesn't mean sustainability. It's part of the sustainability that you do recycling. Yes, I agree, but do you consume probably responsibly before you do the recycling? For example, just simple question. All the countries and the governments now they are committed with the SCG and with the global goal for 2030, which is 17 goal we can get to this late. But I would ask you how many printed paper mail you received in the year from the government.
Zero.
Why?
One.
Oh, sorry?
I didn't receive any. Did you?
Why you didn't receive any?
Good question.
Because other people they keep continue receiving. So it's depend of if you will select paperless on the website for any application or platform that you applied on. So you keep receiving everything by the email and avoiding printing paper, or you will not click paperless, so you will keep receiving mails. And this become your responsibility. The government will not force you to be a paperless.
Yeah. Yeah, I understand. Yeah.
Same thing with all the banks. Same thing with anything that you work with. If you will not choose a paperless, they are going to send you hundreds of printed papers and mails. While we can avoiding this simply by having them in mail. So this have to be the standard and the natural that it's by mail. But if you have a special needs and you need to receive it printed, you need to click that I need it to be printed. So by just changing something very small like this and those company system and the government system and bank system, that the standard will be a paperless as corporate social responsibility. And from here, who need the printed one have to ask for it. This will save at least thousands trees every year. So we're talking about we need to planet I don't know how many thousand tree every year to save the world from the climate actions and all the climate changes. So we are consumers. We thinking to planet 1,000 tree while we destroying 3,000 every year, just for printing paper that no one use it and no one read it and it end up in the trash. And from the other side, we destroy other 3,000 trees by bombing them in all those wars all over Ukraine, Palestine, in Sudan. Like there is a big mess happening and going on in Sudan. People maybe don't talk about it because they don't consider it as a personal conflict. Everyone is looking for a personal conflict to advocate for. But if you look for the masses going on in Sudan, is 100 times higher than all what's going on overall, and it's big land that can feed the whole world. Like Sudan is empty land mostly, and it's very good land to plant it and for farms and like to give the world a good uh, food resource from this area. No one's talking about. So we keep talking about how many tree we want to plant every year to save the world, while we destroying 10 times more than what we build. So it's not sustainable. We talking about recycling the paper while we consume and buying stuff that we don't even need. And we get to the point that we all looking for the social proof, that like blue mark on Instagram or on Twitter. Uh, who's following me? How many followers that I have? Who likes my post? Who like my outfit? Who like what I do? Blah 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 blah. So we forgot the main purpose and reason of being alive, and we become just following a social proof and become like manipulating us in a way or other.
When I was young, we used to take TVs that broke down to the TV repairman and get them fixed. Nowadays, they say just throw it out and buy a new one.
Yeah.
Is that sustainability or is that
I, I tell you where this coming from. Like I'm lucky that I lived in many countries and like I lived into different cultures. So I'll give you a very simple example that I witnessed in Kenya. In Kenya, you pay the electricity as a prepaid system. You pay in advance through like a payment app called M-Pesa. And M-Pesa, this was a big revolution in Kenya business by innovating this like a mobile application to transfer money called M-Pesa. But let's get to the point. People, they control their consumption because they know they don't have money to pay in advance. So they limit their use accordingly. He know like if the credit end, he need to put money in advance to charge again to get electricity. Compared by other place, for example, where no one is monitoring this, and you can have late payment, and you have like credit option and an installment option and blah 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 blah. That will allow you to consume more because you are not paying in advance. You are not crying now. You will cry later. So you will not feel it today. So you keep consuming.
you're talking about a cash society versus a credit society?
Actually, like if we will get to this point, we will. What's the cash society?
You can't have it unless you pay for it in advance.
Okay, so this will get us to the same the same topic that we start with, that we are by natural, we grow up very natural and nice and clean, and we start like being influenced by what's around us. So for example, the example of UAE, you cannot cross the traffic light when it's red, because if you've been catched, you will pay right away 1,500 dirham, all they will take you to the jail. So people, they don't cross the road while it's red because they know they're gonna pay. Compared by other place, if there is no same system and same control to measure it, people will cross it without having the green light. Same thing.
I don't doubt that at all. You know, the more rules you put in place, the better society is going to turn out.
Yeah, and like also like the rules by itself is not enough, because like you cannot force someone to change without showing them how this change will impact their life.
Consequences.
Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt. That's why Singapore is such a nice place, or Dubai. And it's probably why other places, we won't name them, but we know where they are. They're not nice right now because there's no law. People do what they want.
You know, also there's something very important, as you mentioned, the law. Like we have to understand also like the law of power versus the power of law.
You got it. You got it. I like that one. I see that in our country quite often.
Yeah, like it become like really something we all need to consider and to focus on, because we forget that we all as a human have something in common, that we are a human. So
That's a great place for us to jump in and say, hey, we are human. What are we grateful for today? Ramy, you start.
uh, I'm grateful I'm being alive. I'm alive. I'm wake up every day in the morning, enjoy my coffee, and that's my joy every day. Like smell my coffee after go out from shower, and like then anything happen in the day is fine. It's grateful. I'm always working. Uh, when you mentioned your Tunisian friend about the music, uh, last year I opened a platform called Sorek, Sounds of Africa Records, and this mainly to support like artists in the African region who don't have enough resources to jump in the industry. So working on the Sorek platform, I'm also working in another platform uh, for helping the small and medium businesses, especially restaurants, and managing and avoiding wastage and like sharing insights and dashboard that will not require me to go knock the door to everyone and say what you need help with. They're gonna find it right away, and it's completely free service. It's gonna be through business to business with some third parties who are going to cover the expenses for those small and medium businesses. Uh, Trying to do as much as I can on the SDG. Yeah, so I'm grateful for everything I do.
I'm grateful to be able to speak with folks like you who have diverse opinions, who have insights beyond where I've been. I've been around the world, 56 countries. I've done a lot of things in my life, but I was mainly chained to the dental chair as a dentist for 47 years. And I had to work hard to get out of the dental office to go do my education trips, my tourism trips, things that I could do to get away from the dental chair and see the rest of the world.
Yeah.
So I'm grateful for the opportunity to have done what I did, but also to do what I'm going to do in the future. Meeting and greeting people like yourself and finding out about how you do, how you start your day with coffee, how
Yes.
you enjoy life, and I see that you look like you're enjoying life.
It's very important, because like if you will not enjoy it, you cannot leave it. Like, and you will get to the point that you know, how
I'm
many
glad
times I ask
we took
myself,
you away.
yeah, like I'm living in Manhattan, so this never ends. So I was talking about how many times I could feel like a victim. Like, oh, the revolution happened and my business destroyed. Oh, like I don't know what happened. Oh, like I lost this, I lost this. But like, if you will try to be the victim, you will be disappointed, and you will get to the point that you will lose your power and energy and inspiration. So, being like grateful for everything you have and enjoying your life, that will help you to continue. And you need to accept yourself as it is. You cannot change it. You can improve it, but you cannot change it.
Absolutely so. And hey, the advice that you would give to a young man, even to yourself, if you were looking back at your life at 20 years old, what would you do?
I never regret for anything I have done. I loved all the mistakes that I done because they are lessons for me. And if I didn't done those mistakes when I was young, I wouldn't able to improve from myself and continue growing in my career path. So accept yourself and love it as it is, and work on how to improve it, because you cannot change it. You born with it, and it's your gift, and you had this gift for something unique and special. You just need to find it, to discover it. And from here, if you accept it as it is and see how you can improve it, your life will change.
If you combine computers and music and food, the hospitality industry in general, you come up with a recipe. What do you call your recipe that you're serving to the people?
I don't see it serving, actually. And if I will get to this question and this point, I will start it with my parents. Like, I grew up in a house where, like, my parents, they help others. Either it's their duties or their job or not, because like my mom was in a social work, my father wasn't in a social work, but they both help others. Like every like feast before the Christmas, before the Easter, see, like, they was our neighbors, they preparing food that they will share and send to the people before their feast. So people who are in need, they will get that. And this is organized to be like 2 days or 3 days before, so we are as a family will have a time to celebrate the feast as well. So like I grew up in this, like I was 3 4 years old, and around was all the people, like always in the same garage as well that I used as in the cyber cafe, was like the place where they prepare the things to distribute it. And I grew up like this is the something that normal, like that's part of your life, that you have to help others, and the return that somebody will help you. You see it, you didn't see it, you will see it one day, or maybe you don't saw it at all or whatever, but that's the cycle. Like, and I grew up this way, and I become like doing it as a just something normal, like not service.
Well, it's obvious that the expat life has been good to you and that you've enjoyed your time in Kenya, your time in other countries. So I want to know, what do you want to be remembered for when it's all said and done?
uh, Something that can help the people to continue or to find an opportunity, because I always think about, what if I continue as a software and computer technician on the same garage, and I didn't got the opportunity to move on. And like for each move was like a reason, or a sign or a message or whatever you name it, that get me to do this step. But maybe someone else will not be able to see it until someone show it to him. And for sure, some people, they maybe like just told me something, and at this time I didn't realize, but like few years later, I remember, like, yeah, he told me this, and like that really touched me at this time, but I didn't understood it. Today I understood it. So like I see it from this way. Like I need to do something help the people, and in a sustainable way.
Absolutely. I enjoy hearing your talk about sustainability coming from where you came from, where you come to, and your experience in the restaurant industry, particularly showing us that we really can use food in a better way. We can maintain a lot more health and vitality of the food chain by doing things properly. So thanks for that. And maybe there'll be a way you can participate in the future with the improvement to humanity of how food is saved instead of wasted. Sounds like that's a big part for the future. Tell us how we can connect to you if somebody enjoyed our podcast and wants to reach out to you for some help with the restaurant, with your platform. You say that people can come on for free. We'd love to let you give that connection point right now.
You can find me on LinkedIn, Ramy Ayoub, RamyAyoub. My website is the same name, and from here, like we can connect. And I can send you my contact information. You have it for sure. We can add it on the details for.
Is it RamyAyoub.com?
Correct.
Yeah, it's on the screen right now. People can see how to spell it. And if you're interested, LinkedIn has everything to connect to you, your contact information and everything. And we'll put it in the show notes also once we're finished with our podcast.
Sure. Thank you.
What do you say about your experience on the show today, Ramy?
My experience at the show today started since you invited me at the very beginning. So, like, I would like to speak about the overall experience. Really, thank you for considering me and for the approach and the way how you like share all the information and how it's organized with the reminders and everything. This was like very easy process. The efforts you do and inviting all those people for sure. Like last few days, I reviewed some of the shows and I really love the discussions and the efforts you do. And this is the awareness and sharing knowledge that we're trying to do with maximum number of people, at least maybe it touched them in a way or other.
Thanks for that, Ramy. And I want to give you a chance to speak to our audience. The final word before I come back and join you. Go ahead.
The final word will be about the sustainability. It's not just recycling, and it's not a small, easy process that we think it's going on in a proper way. No, it needs more effort. It's a way of living. It's avoiding consumption. Before we think of recycling, we need to think about avoiding consumption to consume responsibly. And from here, we will have a better understanding about sustainability and how we can have a sustainable life with the current limited resources that are available today. That's my message.
Thank you, Ramy. That was good. And I want to now emphasize a few connection points to the audience. Folks that are listening that may not know, this is my QR code to my digital business card. And you can capture freedom. That means you can get some economic freedom by joining in with us and being part of what we do. And the digital business card goes there to that website, which is my digital business card website. And it has two positions that are important. One is the Influencer Podcast, of course. If you want to see all of our podcasts for the last year, 130 different broadcasts, you can go to drbillwilliams.tv to see them. And you can also find out more about our flagship product, the OConnect, which is a video conferencing software. And we have other things that are impressive that you may find interesting. So everything that we have is based on AI technology. If you want to shorten your long URL, you can use OTrim to do it just like I've done it here. And I shortened it just a few letters. Also, with that same OTrim, Ramy, I made this QR code. And you get tracking ability with that QR code or with the URL. So there's a lot of utility in what we have. That's the baby version. The big brother version is called O-Tracker, which is more robust. It's even better and simpler for marketing people, especially if they have a website. They may want to choose to use O-Tracker just like Google Analytics. It measures everything. So you know where your traffic is coming from. You can geofence and geolocate. You can market to a neighborhood, not just a city or a state. So it's very trackable. So, and we even have beautiful connections to people like Supercars Majlist in Dubai. We have offices rather in Cairo, Singapore, Hyderabad, Dubai, Orlando. And if you want to find out more about what's going on in Egypt, Ramy, we have a whole division there for business analysis. A lot of fun for us to be able to say that we're a worldwide business and that we're part of the ONPASSIVE nation, the ONPASSIVE team. Thank you all for tuning in. Interesting day today with Ramy Ayoub. And if you want to connect to him, go to LinkedIn. I'm going to sign off, and I'll see you again later this week. This is Dr. Bill Williams on the Influencers Podcast.